going on? And welcome back. What's going on, everybody? Can you guys believe it? That's rain. So it's totally raining out today. And it had me thinking, man, I wish I could go paramotoring in the rain. But is that something that we really can do? Paramotor in the rain? I do want to be honest with everybody. I have in the rain flying before a couple of times actually, and I've been caught in such dense fog that my glider would be completely soaking wet by the time I land. I'll touch their gliders down on the wet ground, bring the gliders back up completely soaked, and then go flying, which is insane actually. But it's just amazing to know how strong and powerful those gliders are, right? But really though, we don't go out and fly them in the rain, right? It does make it very dangerous. The gliders become heavier and start to go a lot faster, like a lot faster. And once you start getting up to speeds that fast, what's gonna happen is when you go and take a collapse, and if you don't, then you're the luckiest person in the world, but when you go and take your collapse, it's gonna be so hard to get your shape back, because when it's wet like that, it's so heavy now. You know, these gliders are extremely light, and once they get heavy, like soaking wet, they can still fly. But man, once you take on a collapse, you probably won't get the collapse back, and then you're gonna have to throw your parachute. And even then, when you throw your chute in the rain, everything should still be fine. It should still open, and all that should be fine. But however high you are, that chute might be soaking wet by the time you hit the ground. So just be prepared to go hitting the ground quick too that way, you know, because that's a strong possibility. So what's up, everybody? So like I said, we're here hanging out. It's half raining. I hate these days because right now it showed a little pocket of like it potentially not, it won't rain for about like a half hour, and then it's supposed to be like downpouring by like 10 o'clock, right? Which sucks. So these are the days that we basically would take off, you know? And I hate that because I'm not making any actual money at the moment, which is totally fine. But I am going away on a trip next week, and I'm also, I got to figure out my hot rod, right? Because like I just feel like I've been having so much downtime that, you know, it's like I've been trying to make more videos, I've been trying to do more live streams to hang out with you guys more, and you know, and like I've been previously saying, I noticed that my live streams in the morning aren't as great as the ones in the afternoon, but hey, I still love to make these videos. I still love to bring you guys along for the flights and for my car rides in the morning and even in the afternoon, depending on how the day goes. And then you know, I would love to think that I could go out flying today, but it's like, winds are perfect, but the rain, right? So it's like, have you ever set up and launched into the rain before? No, I've never actually done that. But I've been caught in the rain coming back to the LZ, right? And I can't tell you how many times, actually, I want to say maybe it's been a handful of times where my glider has been soaked by the time I land, right? And I'll never forget that one time, like the most soaked my glider has ever been while I was up in the air was when I had to get back to my van to go pick up another pilot one time, and it sucked because it was getting dark. Like, you know, the sunrise was, or sunset was actually setting, and all this fog was coming, and I didn't realize how dense it was because I was so high up. But then, as I started to descend, you know, because I was like halfway through the island, I started to descend because I wanted it to be a little bit lower, not so high. The fog got so dense and so thick so quickly that I was like a little bugged out. I'm like, whoa, I can't actually see anything right now except the fog and my strobe that was going on, right? I'm thinking, whoa, this is crazy. Where did this come from? And I'm still up really high in the air. I was probably up at like at this point, I was probably still up around like 2,000 feet maybe. and the fog, it was just so dense. It was like I was in a cloud, but it was fog, and it was crazy. I tried to actually climb, and it felt like it was just thicker. So I just said, okay, screw it. I'm just gonna let off throttle and descend, and just hopefully I don't smack the ground. Right? That's what I was bugging out about. I'm thinking, all right, I don't want to smack the ground. I was over the beach, you know, but I was so high that by the time I was descending down, I was thinking like, man, I wonder where I'm at now, because it's been so long. And really, it was the first time and the only time I've ever flown where I couldn't see the ground, and literally a foot in front of me. I've never been in this situation flying yet, and I'll never forget, I had to whip my phone out just to look at my regular Google Maps, just to see where I was at. I was over the ocean. That's what was so insane. And when I was over the ocean, it was so crazy. I was over the ocean by like, maybe like a football field, maybe like a football field and a half over the ocean. Like, whoa, way over the water. So, and at this point I was like 800 feet high still. I was still up a pretty good height, like to still be gliding before I would smack the ground. But I was so afraid of being over buildings at that point too. But then when I realized I was over the water, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get away from the water. So I put my phone in between my legs, because I don't have anywhere to put my phone to be able to look at the screen while I'm flying. And I put it in between my legs so I can see the Google Maps, you know? And then I just started to hover over the beach. And as soon as I got to the beach, I actually stayed right on the line of the water, you know, the ocean and the beach. So like I felt, because dude, I was so afraid to be over by the buildings, you know, because I couldn't see anything. And it was, and I still can't get over how I landed. I landed so perfectly, and it was so crazy. I came up, and there's this really bright light in the parking lot where I always park at on this one spot of the island, and I was so grateful for it, because once I was getting closer, I saw that bright light. Really, I couldn't believe it, and I knew it was that light because I know that light. Because, you know, I can't explain to you guys enough how much I really hang out at the LZs when, even if I can't fly or after I'm done flying, right? And dude, I saw that light, and I'm like, oh my gosh, here's the parking lot. So I didn't even care where I was gonna land, because like normally I try to land at the beach right next to the entryway back to the parking lot, obviously, so it's less walking. Dude, I kid you guys not, I came in, and I don't even know if I landed into the wind, with the wind behind me, or in a crosswind. I don't know what type, but dude, I came in so fast, and man, I'll never forget, I flared as hard as I could on that glider, and this was before I even tied my brakes up yet or anything. And man, I just touched my heel on the ocean and ran onto the beach. Like, I just missed landing in the ocean, and I ran, man, as hard as I could, all the way. I couldn't believe I was even able to do it, but I ran as hard as I could to like where I normally would land at, right next to the entryway of the beach, you know, like the walk past to get on and off the beach. Dude, I ran so hard because, you know, I realized by this point that I was wet, so I didn't think that my glider was soaked or anything at this point. I just knew it was wet, but I thought that if I dropped it right there, it would have been really bad with the sand, and that's what made me try to run it out as hard as I could. And it didn't matter, because by the time it dropped anyway, it dropped onto the beach, so it got sandy. But dude, when I wrapped it up, you know how, like, if you guys ever watch any of my videos or other paramotor pilots videos or paraglider videos, at the end when they wrap up their gliders, they start out where the risers are, and they scoop up all the lines, and then they squeeze it together, and then they, you know, like me, I wrap it up like how I would wrap up extension cords and stuff like that on a job site, 'cause I'm so used to doing a wrap that way that I don't think I could ever break that habit of wrap. But that's how I wrap it up. But when I was squeezing the line and pushing towards the glider, dude, it was like I was rinsing out a rag. You know, even my lines were soaked. And it was, man, it was so crazy. And that was the fastest wrap-up job I've ever done. And I took apart my paramotor and threw it inside the van because, like I said, I had to go pick up another paramotor pilot who had an emergency landing. And that was why I pushed myself a little bit in the fog. And really, we're not allowed to do that. But the problem was, it wasn't like I knew the fog was there and I was purposely flying in it. Like I said, guys, when I was flying on the island, I was up so high. I think I probably got up to like 5,000 feet to where I could see my landing. I saw my landing before I started to descend. But when I started to descend is when the fog started to get really, that's when the fog came. And it got so dense, and it was just all bad timing with sunset, because when I was running my glider, it was completely dark. I mean, it was pitch black. And all I was trying to do was help my friend out that day flying with, because like, I know that if it was the other way around, I would have wanted him to have rushed and, you know, got the car and picked me up, because dude, it was cold out. I was soaked at this point. He was soaked. It was just bad all around. But regardless, I couldn't believe how I landed perfectly. I couldn't believe that, you know, I got caught in fog, where like dense fog too, where I couldn't see it. Man, I have to admit, it was scary. And that was my first time. My second time, I wasn't in the fog, but I got surrounded by it. And I'll never forget that. I was on the north end of one of the islands one time. I'll never forget it. It was a beautiful day, perfect winds, everything's great. And I posted a video about this, and you guys can watch it on YouTube. Like, all these videos are all posted, but not that one that I fell in the dark, because I hate to say it, I thought my camera was rolling, and even if it was rolling that day, you wouldn't have been able to see anything, because the lens would have been covered. I don't know if I would have even posted it anyway, even if it was recorded. But I actually didn't record the flight for some reason. When I thought it was, I think what it was is when my buddy had his emergency landing and I got on the ground, that's when the camera stopped. Like, that's when I just turned it off, and then I was in a panic, realizing, whoa, I gotta fly back by myself and then go get the van and like go pick everybody up. Like, I was like, I'm gonna try to be as fast as I can, because like, I don't waste time. Like, if you ask me to do something, I get into this weird mode where it's like, okay, this is the mission, this is the goal, let's go get this done, you know? Like, that's my attitude about anything in life, and it's like, that's how it should be, you know? But don't get it wrong, I do understand that, like, you shouldn't, like, I do have a problem with rushing through things, and I feel like with carpentry, I've seen people work and outwork me, right? Meaning their speed. So that's why I try to be as fast as I can on a job site, because then I don't have an excuse. I've seen people work faster than I do on a job site, cutting, putting together, and finishing, you know? It's like, but really, I have that mentality for everything else too. Like, I always think to myself, like, all right, excuse me, we need to go knock this out. And a lot of times, you know, when my friends ask me for help, they know that's what I bring to the table, you know? And I'm here to always cream out things, you know, and, you know, like hanging out with my other friends and stuff like that with paramotoring, and even in the car life, you know, even though, and, you know, like, I actually went to school for, to become a mechanic, you know, but I always knew that I wouldn't really be that. Like, I didn't want to do it for a living, right? Maybe small motors, like working on paramotors, that's different, but cars, I just wanted to know how to work on them myself, because I felt like at the time, I never had any money when I was first getting my license. And it's like, I felt like I was going to buy these, you know, $500 special cars, that I needed to know how to work on them, because, dude, I didn't want anything to hold me back, you know? I was always the type that always wanted to go out riding in places and go drive my trucks out to the pits with my friends and stuff like that. I just didn't want, you know, even if I had the oldest piece of crap there, at least I was still able to drive there. That was like my whole mentality of why I wanted to go to mechanic school and stuff like that. But what I was trying to get at is, like, it's not really what I always wanted to be, was a mechanic, but like, you know, construction is what I fell into, and it's really, it was like a family business, and I actually do love it. But what I also want to do now is try to think that I can maybe do something different, and now try to maybe still keep the carpentry, and only keep, though, one part of the carpentry, though. Like, I really enjoy building decks for one company, right? And it's almost like working for yourself. like meaning like I'm almost working at my own house doing the decks. That's how nice the work is, you know, and that's why I really like doing this work for one company. But last year it wasn't good enough like it has been. I hope that this year would be totally different, and then, you know, it'll provide a lot more work. But what I'm trying to get at is, like, I feel like I'm being forced to try to be more of a YouTuber, or try to have to think of something else, which I don't want to really do anything else. But I do have now something new on the table that I am excited about, is that now SkyMax making me an official dealer for them here now on the East Coast. What I want to do now is start up a store myself and have a couple of them here at the store, and also have props, pull starts for Vitarazzi, have like all these extra spare parts always on the shelf, right? Because I'm flying with so many people now that it's always like going to be easy things to sell. And not only that, what I want to also have is things to demo. Like right now, guys, too, if you're wondering where we're at, you know where we're at. We're at the Woodbine Airport, my favorite place to be, the local airport. I love to be here. Like I said, normally if I don't go to work and I have time to kill, this is where I want to come and kill the time, guys. I want to come here. I want to see the airplanes, you know. I love this life, you know. I want to get a hangar so bad. This is where I want to actually have my store at, guys. This is it. Like right now, it's considered an online store that I'm going to have, but I want to make an actual store, right? I can't just have that out of my shop at my house, right? I don't want that, right? Like, what I would rather have is like, how can I make it into like a commercial business of some kind? And man, I want it, and I'm gonna have it. I feel like, let's see too if we see any airplanes coming in or out today. Like I said, you always gotta check. Like I'm allowed to drive on these runways, which we're doing right now. I'll show you. And this is where we flew out yesterday, guys. I just posted little videos on Instagram and Facebook of my little flight. I didn't download all the video yet, but I just downloaded a little bit of it. But yeah, we flew right over here to the right. Right now we're driving on, you know what's so funny about this runway right here? This runway here is a taxi runway, but I have seen pilots actually fly off of this runway. It actually, I think it depends on the airplane. Like some of these airplanes are like these sport planes that are very lightweight, you know, which is like super cool actually. I would actually love to get a pilot license for that, because they're, whoa, look at all the deer. Oh my God, there's like 1,000 of them back here with huge turkeys. Dude, hopefully you guys are gonna see them in the video. Ready? Right there. Where are they? You see them all? There's like 1,000 of them. Look at them all. They're all in the tree line. Wow, that was so freaking awesome, guys. I don't know if you realized how many deer were just there, but there might have been, that might have been like over, dude, that was crazy. That might have been the most deer I think I've ever seen in my life. That's what I love about coming out here. And like most of the time when I come out here, there's nobody here. I cannot believe all the deer that we just saw. They're all right there. So this is the one side of the airport, guys, that we always go to. So this is like that new flying spot now for me in the summertime. Dude, there was like a huge turkey or something too I saw over here. But dude, I was more excited about the deer, man. That was exciting. Man, I love that, man. I love that we just saw that, you know. You know, I love the animal life. I love how, like, you know, I just love how they're just out here living life, you know what I mean? That's what, I just love animals. I'm a big fan of all animals, you know, and I'm not against hunting at all. Like, I actually find it to be a very important thing to do in life, because it was once the only way to get meat, right? And I actually think that in schools, there should be a couple things that really should be taught in schools. It's like, hunting should be a thing taught in school, and properly using a gun. They're in our life, you know, and it's so crazy to think that that's never a part of any of the school districts, is hunting with a bow, crossbow, a rifle, a shotgun, right? And it blows my mind, because you can start hunting like at the age of I think 12 or 14, and it blows my mind. And then also how gardening isn't a big thing in schools. Like, I know that summertime we're all out of schools, but you can do indoor, there's indoor gym activities and stuff like that. So like, I would rather not see a cooking class. I would rather see like a class that's all about gardening. Like, your whole year you're there, you got to grow this many plants. That's what blows my mind, that because it's like, I feel like I was robbed. I feel like I was robbed of ever learning how to become a hunter. I feel like I'm robbed of ever really getting into gardening and stuff like that, because dude, they're like the most important things. And it's like, I feel like, even knowing that, I feel like I don't know if I'd really ever get into hunting or not, I still want to do it at least once. You know what I mean? And I think that what I'm trying to do is, for my next upcoming season, I think I want to start prepping and getting ready to really do it, whether if I go with shotgun or bow, because that's what I was just talking to my one friend about. And it seems like bow season's much longer of a season to hunt with, so like, I feel like that would actually be more exciting. But I would like to set up for both, you know what I mean, even if I don't like it and never do it again. Man, I don't know if you guys saw the amount of deer on the camera. I think we caught a couple, which I can't actually wait to go and watch myself after the live's done. But dude, they were all right here. And this is a really cool spot now that I actually really like. But like I said, the problem is there's a lot of flat cactus everywhere. And if I can just start coming out here and keep doing it, wow, that was a ton of feathers right there. You know what that means? Some of their own hunting out here. What is that screeching noise? Something is screeching back there. But yeah, but like, check this strip out right here, just on the left side of the airstrip here. And now this is the airstrip that's mostly used, right? And this right now, the way that we're facing, we are looking dead north. We're looking as true north as we can here in New Jersey right now. Like, here, I'll show you. This is what's really cool about this airstrip, is that this faces the true north and south of New Jersey. Like, this doesn't get any more. But the reason why I call it the west side is because when I drive in here and just tell my other paramotor pilot buddies when they meet me, that's the only reason why I ever say the west side. But really, dude, that is looking as true north as it gets in New Jersey. And straight behind us is completely south. You know what I mean? So, like, I love doing my live streams and coming out here and talking to you guys about this stuff, I'm getting a phone call right now. So check it out, guys. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to call you guys back, because I think that this might be a really important phone call. So I am sorry to end the live early. So check it out. I'll be back with you guys shortly. Give me a few, all right? I'll get back on the live in a little bit. Sorry about this, guys.